Hello, everyone. All right, so we got Brian Parker, Tactical Sovereignty. Joan Cares, German Lady, Kelly G. And my volume's up. Hold on one second. Sarah Huddock. Mary Lopez, hello. Georgia Sunflower. Motherfucking Princess. Caleb Mandrake. What's up, my man? Caleb, how we doing, dude? I noticed you're putting a lot of insight in the chat. I really appreciate that, sir. Golden One. Nancy Eileen. That girl. Pink Sugar. Steph Lechner. Natasha Nicole. Sammy C. Jason, what's up, my man? Angel Eyes. H. Martin. Evelyn Arnaud. Diddy Doo. CC Dugan. Laura Max. Kimberly Buick. Steph75. Amanda P. Pamela Smith. Rasaka 1. Dawn Marie, hello. Leah Lamb. Marissa Anderson. Okay. If I missed you, I'm sorry. Hello, Irish's wife. So, really, really sad news today, guys. And hey, AJ McCleary. Very sad news regarding Stephanie Hollingsworth. And as Caleb mentioned in the chat, I want to be very clear about something before I continue, that the police made a statement. They put out a statement, which I'll probably read at some point. Hey, Save Robbie. Nikki Sackett, the law enforcement, the Orange County Sheriff's Department put out a statement saying that, I believe it's the Orange County Sheriff's Department, put out a statement saying that that nobody in Stephanie's family were persons of interest. So I want to be very clear about that before I continue. That happened on Thursday. It is now Saturday, and Stephanie Hollingsworth's champagne-colored Chevy Tahoe was found in a pond about 15 minutes from the last place that she was seen. It was submerged in a pond, I believe, and like I said, it was found about 15 minutes southeast of where she was last seen purchasing a bottle of vodka at Walmart. That was on September 25th. It is now 3 weeks later. And I have not been live due to my work hours and covering every little development that's been going on. But as I mentioned, law enforcement has cleared any family members of being any type of persons of interest. And it's a very important thing to keep in mind right now. That simply tells me that they need our respect and support. This must be a very, very difficult time for them right now. And I'm going to go ahead and read something. And this just says it's from the family. It doesn't specifically say who actually wrote this. But it says, this has been a long, hard road for the family. They have beautiful hearts and are strong. Scott is a great dad, and he has led a positive charge to find his wife. His children love and respect him. He is their rock. They saw the hundreds of searchers and thousands of people who came together praying to bring closure to the family. Without all these people and the tireless efforts they put forth while stopping their lives to help this family in need, Scott would still be searching for his wife. He can now rest. Scott motivated us to start findsteph.com. It became a movement. He would like us to continue the efforts to bring forth conversations that address many of the subjects that surfaced during the search. This was a mother who loved her family and was married to her soulmate. Together, they raised 3 strong, well-rounded boys. They are all heartbroken today, just as they have been for 3 weeks. Today brought closure so that they can all now grieve. Now, that only says from the family. Doesn't say actually who wrote it. If you had to ask me, I'd say it was Mr. Larry Miles that probably wrote it. This sounds like his words, very kind words. I realize that I have given Mr. Larry Miles a bit of a hard time, especially in the last live that I did on this case. I stand by everything I said, but I want to be very clear that right now that Stephanie has been, at least her vehicle has been found. There has not been a statement released from law enforcement yet confirming that that is Stephanie, but there are people who are saying that at the site, that the person who was found in the Tahoe is Stephanie. Now, there's a couple of things about this that bothers me, besides the obvious, of course. This is an awful, awful, awful thing that happened to someone. But I cannot help but stick so far to my original suspicion that foul play was definitely involved. Now, there's nothing confirming that yet, but I still believe that very much so. This is just my opinion. And it concerns me. It concerns me a lot. There's a lot to think about here. I want to show the basically the stretch of road here. This shows the distance between the Walmart and the, excuse me. I always drink coffee right before I start these things, and then I burp and stuff. I'm really sorry about that. But this shows the distance between the Walmart and the pond where Stephanie's vehicle was found. And as you can see, the Walmart is up here. I'll show you. The Walmart is up here on the top left part of the screen. You see this blue line that says 15 minutes, no tolls. There's another road off to the side of it. Looks like a side road where it's 14 minutes, no tolls. So there's about 15 minutes, I'd say, give or take about 15 miles, that being the case. And this blue line represents the path going to the pond where Stephanie was found, or where Stephanie's vehicle was found. Now, is anybody else troubled by this? And I noticed that Caleb actually made a comment about this just a little bit ago. When Stephanie left the Walmart, her vehicle was seen leaving the parking lot and heading north. She was northbound. And apparently that's the opposite direction of her home. Now, the thing is I don't know how far the pond is from her home. So that's something that kind of troubles me. But I do find it strange that the vehicle was seen going northbound. Also, there were also surveillance cameras that caught her heading northbound. But this pond is 15 minutes southeast of the Walmart. And I can't help but think that that's troublesome. So this still in my gut, I don't believe that this was an accident of any kind. I don't think this was a drunk driving type situation. I don't really think that the bottle of vodka is really relevant at the moment, to be perfectly honest. If you had to ask me my opinion on the bottle of vodka, it's just a detail, but I don't necessarily think that it is necessarily a clue, considering what we know right now. And I mean, the fact that it was found in water, that simply bothers me. And she was found in the vehicle. Now, could she have gotten drunk and just decided to drive and then drive into a body of water to commit suicide? Because I don't think it's a case of her just passing out and being like, why would she drive to this outskirt here? There doesn't seem to be anything in that area. And why did she leave her phone is also a good question. Now, the thing about the phone is the phone being left at home indicates to me that she probably planned on coming right back. She planned on picking up some booze, coming right back home. Right? I have no other reason to think otherwise. But what's bothering me is I just don't see this as being a suicide. I don't see this being as an accident, most definitely. But the fact that her husband did confirm that she had a bit of a drinking problem, an off and on one, and he did confirm that she struggled with depression and anxiety. So this is something that hits a little home with me too. So I can kind of relate, and I can relate to drinking in order to medicate that. And I can relate to being on the verge of suicide, to be perfectly honest. But this, it's also been statistically, apparently women, according to one of my moderators who's very well versed in these things, but statistically women tend to want to be seen and found when they commit suicide. And I mean, why would she? I mean, it took 3 weeks to find this vehicle. She's been gone since the 25th. It took 3 weeks to find this vehicle. 2 weeks to find her, because I do believe that that's her in the truck. I have no other reason to believe otherwise. But and then somebody left a comment. I'm going to read this out loud. Somebody left a comment in one of the groups. And I'm not sure how I feel about it. Again, I think this is, these groups, man, they tend to bring out the crazy in people, including me sometimes. So this one says, I'm not buying how this was not seen in pure daylight. Not buying the fact that they are just now finding it, even despite all the searching. And I don't feel in my gut that she chugged an entire bottle and landed in a lake. I just don't feel that in my gut. I honestly hope I'm wrong, but I smell some major bullshit and foul play involved in this one. Larry claims to have woken up a couple of days ago in his video due to bursitis in his hip. I don't know what that word is. I'm not very medically versed. And this happens. Really have some major freaking suspicions, y'all. See, Nan, okay. Uh, I'm not going to name that person who wrote that. It's just a comment in some group by some random group member. But the thing is I'm not ready to go there just yet. I'm just not ready to go there just yet. Yes. Do I think that Larry's behavior has been odd? Do I think it's been weird? Sure. But none of it indicates him being a killer. None of it indicates any of that. So I want to be very clear about that. I don't even know how. I don't even know how accurate that information is. That's just a comment that somebody left. I don't even know how accurate it is that he had these hip pains or whatever. So like I said, I think right now it's just simply time to let this family grieve. Let law enforcement do their jobs. I'm sure that now that Stephanie has been found, because I do, like I said, I do believe that is Stephanie in that truck. Now that Stephanie's been found, now that her truck has been found, there should be definitely significantly more for law enforcement to work with in order to find out what actually happened to her. And we don't know if she was alone at the liquor store still, Mary Lopez. That is a good question, but we still don't know. But I am grateful that there is some closure. Now, I'm not going to lie. That statement, it's probably just because the statement probably just doesn't sit well with me, because like I don't know. Nobody from the family actually wrote it. I really don't believe that. But what bothers me about it is the statement at the end that says, "Today brought closure so that they can all now grieve." That's the last line in this thing. Today brought closure so that they can all now grieve. Did it though? Like, I mean, it brought some closure. It brought some closure, but I mean, I think everyone already knew what happened to her. Or, I mean, they already knew that something terrible happened to her. She wouldn't just disappear for 3 weeks. Everyone was on the same page as far as that goes. There's no way that she's just going to disappear. That's just not going to happen. She's not going to just up and decide, I don't want to live this particular life anymore. So, sorry, I'm still looking over chat and everything too. Yeah, I'm just not. I'm not buying that. And seeing this pattern that took place, if she drove northbound and then at some point, now here's the thing: we also have to consider. A lot of people think that somebody in the parking lot of the Walmart took her. That's a possibility, but there's also the possibility that she went somewhere else and stopped somewhere, met someone. But see, I don't believe that. The reason why I don't believe that is when you are going to meet someone, right? Well, you would have your phone with you, wouldn't you? You would be like, "Hey, I'm 30 seconds away. I'm 2 minutes away." You know? You would have your phone with you. I don't think that whatever happened to her, she saw coming. Now, suicide is a possibility still. Suicide is definitely a possibility still. I just don't see it as a likelihood, is all I'm saying. But yeah, I mean, the location and the way it was disposed of. Now I don't. Now I'm also having trouble with how much evidence are they going to find on a truck that's been submerged in water for likely 3 weeks. The truth is, we don't really know. We don't know the conditions of the body. We don't know the condition of the truck. We just know that her truck, matching her license plate, and her and the make and model is in that pond, and there is a female body in it. Yeah, I think that now I think I may have got that wrong. Stephanie Farrell, you might be right. I think I may have got that wrong in the other lives that I did, where I said that she went to the bank prior and pulled money out prior to the going to the Walmart. So I think actually she may have, I heard somewhere else recently too, that she went after going to the Walmart. See, Caleb, that's not true necessarily. That's not true. You're saying drunk drivers get lost 5 minutes from their home and can't find their house. The thing is uh, I used to drink a lot, and I mean a lot. And I have driven intoxicated, which I'm not proud of. And I've also walked places, you know, highly intoxicated, blackout drunk. And I happen to know I always find my way. Instinctively, I find my way. I could be on my phone, I could be doing whatever, but I'm making all the right turns. I'm doing everything, I know where there's stop signs, all that stuff. Right. I mean, so I don't believe I don't believe that she got lost. That's just not something that I'm buying right now. She either purposely put that truck in the lake with the intentions of hurting herself, uh, or someone took her and put that truck in that pond. And I'm with you, Sarah. I'm not. I don't necessarily think that she. That's also a possibility, Nancy Eileen. There's a possibility that she could have taken. She could have purposely overdosed on antidepressant medication, which I believe she was taking. Don't quote me on that. I believe that's a possibility. I mean, if she struggles with depression, it's likely that she was medicated for it. So there are signs here that indicate that she could have been suicidal. I'm just not seeing that in this case. I'm not seeing this being a suicide, is what I'm saying. Despite that. Right. That girl, I'm with you there. Why choose drowning? Why do that? Why that method? Why so far from home? Why make it difficult uh, for yourself to be found, for your body to be found? Why put your family through that? See, that's my thing right there. If she was this devoted family woman, which I do believe with all my heart that she was, if she was this devout mother and wife, and Scott was her soulmate, and she loved her three boys the way that she does, I just don't see someone in that position in their life putting their family through 3 weeks of torment like this, being that careless. I mean, even if they're suicidal, I just don't see them doing that. She's a smart woman. She's a very smart and attractive woman. This is not. I mean, Yeah. See, I don't know, man. I'm not ready for stuff like that yet. Uh, but going back to that statement at the end there where it says, they finally have closure. I mean, they probably mean, okay, now that they know what happened to her, then okay, they have some closure. But see, I have trouble with that because, for me, and I'm 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 just some jackass on YouTube, man. For me, that closure comes when I find out what happened to her. When it starts to make sense. That's when closure happens for me. So it troubles me. I don't know. Maybe I think that's just the nitpicky guy in me. I think I'm just being nitpicky, like I do with movies and stuff like that, where I take a little detail and I make the worst out of it. Yeah, she just got the new yoga job too, Stephanie Farrell. Good point. She was supposedly excited about it. But I'm having trouble with that. I'm having trouble, no, not the yoga thing, what I was talking about before. I'm having trouble with, uh, I'm just having trouble with that statement, you know, like I'm just some guy, man. But yeah, I'm not seeing closure until I got an idea of what's happening, of what happened to her. Yeah, it's a little too soon to call closure on that, I think, you know? Yeah, way too many questions, Jennifer Smith. Way too many questions. And like I said, it's probably just something written in haste, something written quickly in haste. Like we got to put something out there, but it's also pretty quick to put a family statement out there, isn't it? Is anybody else? Am I looking too deep into that too? Why the rush to put out that statement? No, Marilyn Landis. I'm not. Nah, I'm not. That's not an accident. It's not an accident. I don't think. I mean, it could be. It's possible. I could be wrong. I just don't feel like it is. 3 weeks. 3 weeks to find an accident. We're talking a vigorous search, man. A vigorous search. I just saw Larry in an airplane live yesterday. You know what I'm saying? He went live and he was did about a 20-minute video. Rosalang. Rosalang. I said it right this time. Rosalang. Yes, I agree with you. Not a suicide or an accident. That's just how I feel right now. And we don't have a lot. We don't have much yet. But it is just a matter of time before law enforcement releases a statement. Now, according to uh, the news sources that I'm reading from, there were drones that were around that area searching, and the drones found it, and divers went down and identified the vehicle. Now let's not jump to that conclusion just yet, guys. Let's not do that. Let's not do that, Sarah. Let's not do that. Because you don't know anything yet, man. Just because a guy acts weird, you know what I'm saying? Just because a guy acts weird, that's not enough to say that he's a killer. You know what I'm saying? And we all want so bad to find out that it was somebody that she knew. Now, is it likely that it was somebody that she knew? Of course. But everyone in the family has been ruled out. And I don't want to go accusing some guy just because he acts weird of something so terrible when, for all we know, he has been just nothing but a pillar of support for this family, because they obviously see him in that way. So I think it's respectful to the family to show him the same respect in a time like this. I just wish that, you know, I wish the guy would do a little better of a job. That's all that is. That's all that is. Yeah, Sarah, I don't know if I misread your comment or whatever. I don't know if that's who you were talking about. Well, we don't know what area he was searching for, Stephanie Farrell. That's the thing is, if it stands to reason that if Stephanie's car was seen going northbound when leaving the Walmart, and other surveillance cameras caught her heading in the same direction, well, then it stands to reason that's where everyone would be concentrating their search for the most part. Obviously, they're going to search, in other directions as well, which is why they found the vehicle, because that is a result of the search. I mean, we've got to give these drone pilots some credit here, because they're heroes. These drone pilots are heroes, man. Do you imagine how hard it is? They went and they got that's another thing that I forgot to mention. They actually got a satellite company, which it fails. It leaves my mind here the name of the satellite company. But they released a press statement to the press, volunteering their equipment in the search. So here I was trash talking the ridiculousness of this press conference, and somebody actually came through. So it wasn't so ridiculous, was it? I mean, I'm going to have to eat my words there. It wasn't so ridiculous because a company came through, a real high resolution satellite company came through and publicly volunteered their help. So that's not a hey Annie, what's up? That's definitely not some sort of it's not as crazy as I made it out to be in the last live that I did, is it? So like I said, I'm gonna have to eat my words on that one, man. Because it did not fall on deaf ears. I mean, in my defense, I was like, they were talking about the Pentagon, they were talking about Elon Musk. My man was up there talking about Elon Musk and what's his face? Bill Gates. And, I mean, to me, yeah, that sounded kind of wild-eyed, kind of Doc Brownish was, but it did not fall on deaf ears, because an actual company that manufactures these satellites and have some in space volunteered their equipment to help find Stephanie's vehicle. And yes, Annie, it has been confirmed. The tag has been confirmed. It is her vehicle. So I do believe that is her inside the vehicle. Now, another thing that concerns me is that this vehicle has probably been submerged in this pond, in this mucky, mossy pond, for 3 weeks, or at least the better part of 3 weeks, probably. And I wonder how much that's going to affect law enforcement being able to find evidence that's going to lead to whatever happened to her. It is a possible suicide, Annie. I do agree with you. It is a possible suicide. I just think it's very unlikely. You got here a little late, but I did go into my reasons why on that. And what I'm going to do, it just so happens, my friends, that before I continue real quick, I wanted to say something to Wicked Witch. Wicked Witch has not been chat lately. Wicked Witch lost someone very close to her. So everybody please send her some love. Hopefully she hears this. But she has not been with us for a little bit just because she is dealing with that. Someone very close to her. Yeah, they do that, Annie. They do that. But yeah, so I wanted to let everybody know. But it turns out that my right hand in this case has been that girl, my moderator here, and she just so happens to be a licensed mortician. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a link for her, and she is going to share a little bit of insight as to the best of her knowledge, because she is not a medical examiner, to the best of her knowledge, what they could be looking at as far as finding evidence, what could be happening to her body at the moment. So give me 1 second here. Let me go ahead and drop that. Now, yeah, this is something that really, this is really bugging me, man, because there's just too many questions here. There's too many, yeah. Florida is crazy with the Sunshine State concept, which means everything is released to the public. I love it because I'm inquisitive, but I wouldn't like it if I was a defendant. Keep my crimes quiet. Absolutely. I completely agree with you, Caleb. All right, that girl, I'm bringing her on. How's it going?
Going. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Can everybody hear that girl? You were a little low there for a second, but
I can try to bring the mic in a little bit closer.
Oh, that's a lot better. That's a lot better.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So explain to everybody what you're licensed in and what that entails of, please.
I have a degree in mortuary science, and I am currently holding one license in the state of Texas just for funeral directing. I dropped my dual licensure for embalming because I'm accident prone in the prep room, and that's dangerous.
Right. I can imagine so.
Yeah, I stabbed myself for a third time and decided that I would just stick to the cosmetizing and taking care of the families, man.
That's good. That's good. So did you do this for any like criminal cases? Or
well, I took care of thousands of people post-mortem and directed, I don't know, at least 600 funerals at least. I don't know how many cremations and stuff. I didn't keep count past my apprenticeship.
Wow.
So long enough that I've taken care of everything from stillborn to the very, very, very old. So
in your experience, at as best as you possibly can, because I realize we don't have a lot to go on here. We don't have a lot of information, but to the best of your knowledge and in your experience, how difficult do you think? What are the possibilities of law enforcement being able to collect enough evidence off of her or the vehicle after being submerged in those waters for 3 weeks?
Man, there's a lot of factors that are going to come into play. Environmentally, first off, we don't even know how long her vehicle had been submerged in the water. Like, period. We don't know if it had been there one day. We don't know if it had been there the entire 3 weeks. Let me turn off my phone volume, guys. I'm sorry. We have like no clue exactly how much water made it into the vehicle. Obviously, the vehicle was not 100% submerged, right? Because otherwise, how would the drone see it? That's kind of swampland through there. The water is generally, when I lived in the area, in Lake Mary, just outside Lake Mary in the more rural area. And the water you could see through, like if you're in the boat, you can see the gators, but it's not crystal clear. You know what I mean? So I'm assuming logic and reasoning, that there was part of the vehicle exposed. So was it enough that maybe her head and upper torso was not underwater? It really just depends. Was her entire body submerged? There's just so many factors. The medical examiner is really going to have their work cut out for them if she has been in that warm water for the last 3 weeks.
So what, I mean, let's say worst case scenario. Let's say she's been completely submerged for the last 3 weeks. What are we looking at possibly?
Well, I do know we had a gentleman that was found mostly submerged outside a vehicle in a river here, and it took multiple people. I'm going to be very delicate. I'm sorry, guys. It's not. It's kind of graphic, but they had to use ropes to remove the gentleman, the decedent, from the water. Because everything is just stewed. I don't know how to explain it without being too graphic, but they're very delicate at that point. And that was only, approximately 72 hours post-mortem. It was kind of the same time of year as far as temperature would be concerned there and where I'm at with the humidity and things of that nature. But we also have to know, was there a way for outside environment to affect her? Like, could the creatures in the water actually get to her? Even if it was, sorry, baby, even if it was, a very small croc, if a baby alligator gets in there, it just depends on how long she was in there and whether or not anything could actually join the environment with her. But if she's under there for 3 weeks, it's going to be hard. But if they can move her very carefully and keep the remains very wet and hydrated, they can do autopsies now that they didn't used to do, where it's straight imaging. So they aren't.
So does, I'm sorry to interrupt.
It's okay.
So would the water being submerged in the water, how much would that possibly affect?
Okay, let me give you a basic definition so you understand decomposition. Decomposition happens in the human body due to a process called hydrolysis. And etymology tells us that is literally destruction by water. And you're also adding water to the equation. The more water gets added, the faster the body is destroyed and the faster the water tears up the cells. So like if in alcoholics per se, and I'm not saying this happened in Stephanie's case at all.
But it's definitely a possibility.
Well, in an alcoholics, your liver is going to start throwing off enzymes, assuming you are an experienced or an advanced alcoholic and you have liver damage. The liver instantly starts producing an enzyme that creates liquid and just more. I don't want to be too graphic.
No, please. We're all adults here.
It will literally create enough liquid that it makes it hard for somebody who died under the best of circumstances to be viewable. Okay. I'll put it that way. You have to constantly maintain the body. So when you add the outside water as well, and we now know that decomposition is the destruction of the body by water, hydrolysis, we know that there's further destruction taking place from the outside instead of the decomposition occurring from within. I'm sorry, I'm used to funeral conferences, not interviews with people.
I'm sorry, and only go into what you're comfortable with. I don't mean to put any pressure on you.
Well, I just don't want to upset anybody in your chat, because some people do not handle the death experience well. And, so you always got to keep that in mind, plus her family, who, though they may say this gives them closure, I think that was poorly worded. I think that they're coming from a very good Christian aspect, whoever wrote that. And we do know that they have kept that in the forefront of their search. Yeah. And what I have found with loss, when people say stuff like that, I think they mean closure to the search, closure to knowing where she is, not necessarily closure to the experience of Stephanie as a whole. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I'm going to go with, right now, at least what I'm comfortable doing is I'm going to go with that statement came from the best possible place. Yeah. In someone's heart. And they just did it on the fly. But I do feel, at the same
Well,
time,
and it was given quickly.
what was the rush, right? You know,
Yeah, it was given very quickly. I did notice that the quote unquote official group for Miss Hollingsworth had been closed down to making posts. People could still comment on certain posts, but they could not originate new ones.
right.
So that I did find it interesting that they did give a statement, quote unquote, from the family, according to that news article, so quickly. But maybe they had one prepared. It
Right.
does seem like Mr. Miles is covering all his bases. And
Yeah.
he seems very media conscious. I will not say media savvy, but I will say media conscious.
He's definitely not savvy.
He's been waiting for his moment in the spotlight. So, this may be something that he's been preparing for.
In all fairness, we're just assuming it was him that wrote it.
Well, in all fairness, it's been 3 weeks. Why wouldn't they be prepared for all outcomes at this point?
Agreed.
3 weeks
maybe,
is a long
for
time.
all we maybe there was a statement written for many different possible scenarios.
Exactly.
Many different outcomes.
Like a fill in the blank.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm not ready to think the worst of this guy just yet. I just think he's, his need to be in front of a camera so much sucks. I'm not
Nancy
lie about that. But
Nancy Eileen asked a question. She says, because of alcohol, you decay faster. Because of advanced alcoholism and or problems with the liver due to the abuse of pills, prescription or non. It can happen with the use of Tylenol and ibuprofen. Those both damage the liver. When your liver is damaged, it will produce an enzyme. It speeds the decomposition of the human body. And so when somebody is advanced in the stages of alcoholism and in the throes actively of it, when they pass away, getting those enzymes under control to make the body viewable is very difficult. And I'm just going to leave it at that. So it can be hard.
Yeah. And I just really hope, I really want this family to get actual closure. This was a beautiful, loving mother and wife.
Yeah.
And I think it's awful that somebody could just toss her away the way that they did, because I agree with Annie in the sense that it's definitely possible that there's suicide involved here.
Speaking of, I pulled up a statistic for you.
Okay.
While I was kind of waiting. So, and this is something I had mentioned previously in chat. So what we're looking at is, it's obviously a limited study, but you can find this over and over and over again. It's redundant information. So for women, the most prevalent modes of suicide are going to be pharmacological drugs. Sorry, I hate that word. And like as overdose, and exsanguination is so like the slicing of the wrist to bleed out.
Okay.
It's almost always, while males are going to frequently use hanging or asphyxia, females do tend to use a greater number of different suicide methods, but they will shoot themselves in the chest as opposed to the head like a man will. And that also lends itself to why women are more likely to attempt and fail suicide rather than actually committing to it.
That makes a lot of sense.
Because men are very ballsy. They're like, if they're saying fuck it, it's over, they're saying fuck it, it's over.
Right.
I know from personal family experience,
Right.
And just statistically. And women are like, okay, but I want this kind of casket. Most women, not all. Okay, guys, I know not everybody's a diva glitter waiting. Okay. But most women they have, just like you envision your wedding, you envision your children, you envision your funeral, you envision your casket, you envision people crying over your body and mourning your soul, okay? So you want to be viewable. So not only are you going to do something that isn't going to make you unviewable, such as drown yourself, but you're going to want to be found easily.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
And this woman, let's face it, as you said, and there's nothing wrong with it, like a lot of women her age in Florida, has had some work done. She took pride in her appearance.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
That is another. And she was a devout Christian.
Yeah. There's definitely some very common vanity going on with her, and this is not something that I'm criticizing about her at all, because this is very common.
But no,
women tend to have that type of vanity, especially when they reach a certain age in their middle age and they can afford to get work done. So they get work done, and they want to look good. They want to maintain their youth.
And her children weren't completely grown.
And why would you put that much time, money, and your body through so much to maintain that youth if you're just going to end your life?
Well, I'm not going to go there, because as we know, sometimes, and I'm not speaking about Stephanie, but we know sometimes women tend to be, how do I put this? People who change their body surgically sometimes have body dysmorphia and things that come from body dysmorphia? What you see in the mirror is not what other people see when they look at you. Okay, right. So if you have body dysmorphia and you're not doing it to go back to the beautiful you, you're doing it to be a new beautiful you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you're doing that and you're going to kill yourself, why are you going to do it where it's going to ruin your face?
Right.
That's where I'm coming from.
That's an excellent point.
And then let's go ahead and add the fact that she's a Christian.
Right.
And most Christians believe that suicide,
you go straight to hell.
Thank you, because it's an unpardonable sin.
Right.
Which, if you know the Bible at all,
it's murder. It's considered murder. Period. Well, you're dying in the act of murder.
We could totally go into the fact that the only thing mentioned as unpardonable is the denial of Christ, but that's another show, Will. So the fact is, she probably has a fear of hell, though, correct? So that's another thing that makes me think, okay, unless she is severely ill with something that gives her a type of body dysmorphia, and this is her feeding a depression and anxiety, and she has more mental issues than what we're aware of, suicide to me is less likely. Because
I completely agree with you.
Statistically, even.
Well, right. Yeah. I mean, according to the statistics you pulled up, obviously, but you're just better at wording it than I am. You're the one. You should have a YouTube channel, man.
No, man, this isn't my dig.
Listen, you already let me know what you're capable of, and I'm gonna drag you on here so many times, man. I'm telling you right now, that's gonna happen. Like, man, you have kept yourself a dirty little secret from me, and now I'm on to you. So
I'm a mega wrench, though. That's my calling, is the mega wrench.
You are, but that is, man, you are so overqualified for that position.
No, but okay, so this kind of lends it why I was good at funeral directing. I can anticipate the tone and the need very easily. And so that's why I'm good at wrenching, because I can feel that vibe coming on.
Oh, you're excellent.
And just pop it on in. But I really feel like identifying her is obviously going to be very easy. Identifying exactly what went on, gosh, you guys, we're going to have to wait and see. If anybody, I heard earlier in the chat, I read, I think Golden One had said Web Sleuth and Crime Online had confirmed it with Stephanie. And Caleb and I both said the same thing. The only person that can do that is the medical examiner.
I have the Crime Online article pulled up here, actually. So I'll just go ahead and read that real quick.
Yes, please do. I haven't.
Searchers looking for a Florida mom who disappeared last month have found an SUV driven by Stephanie Hollingsworth when she was last seen submerged in a retention pond in East Orange County. Orlando police say there is a body inside the vehicle, but they have not confirmed the identity of the remains. Drone pilots helping with the search spotted the submerged vehicle, police said. Detectives said that the license plate on the vehicle matched that of Hollingsworth's SUV. Hollingsworth left her Belle Isle home at about 2 p.m. on September 25th to run errands. She withdrew $20 cash from the nearby bank and was last seen in surveillance footage walking down a Walmart aisle later that day. Sorry, I thought I lost her. Everybody's still there, right? Okay, cool. Scott Hollingsworth Stephanie's husband said it was completely out of character for his wife, who's a yoga instructor and mother of 3 sons, to simply vanish. Security footage at the bank and Walmart didn't show anything unusual, and Hollingsworth didn't appear to be troubled or distressed. She left the Walmart alone. Family members said she did leave her cell phone at home. Earlier this week, authorities announced that Scott Hollingsworth and other immediate family members were not and had not been considered suspects in her disappearance. And that was specific. I want to keep that in mind. It's probably nothing. All right. But I want to be clear that that's pretty specific, that it says that they announced that Scott Hollingsworth and other immediate family members were not and had not been considered suspects in her disappearance. Stephanie Hollingsworth is described as a white female who stands 5'4" tall and weighs around 115 pounds. She has brown eyes and brown hair. A previous $5,000 reward for information that leads to Hollingsworth has now been increased to $10,000. Anyone with information on Stephanie Hollingsworth's whereabouts is okay. We know what her whereabouts are, or at least let's be honest here, guys. Oh snap! My bad. Hold on, I got you. I hope I didn't do that, but here you go. Yeah, this is the more and more I think about this, I mean, she didn't seem troubled or distressed, man. Dude, if you're to the point in depression where you're suicidal, it's pretty obvious to a certain degree, especially if you're drinking a lot. So yeah, man, they're like, we don't get it. Her immediate family's going, we don't get it. We don't understand. There's no indication. Like, yeah, okay, she's been depressed. I mean, a lot of us are depressed, man. Doesn't mean we're suicidal. Hopefully, okay, I did drop another link in there, that girl. Hopefully, Lori Beth, that's an excellent point. Not being a suspect is not the same as being cleared. How could they clear them before her body is even found? So let's go back to that. Let's think about that for a second. I want to explore that comment. Thank you for that, Lori Beth. Let's consider that comment. Because when it comes to these other cases, usually they won't name someone or say that they cleared anyone as suspects because not because they know what happened or anything like that. It's because they don't know what happened. And it's because the focus is concentrated on locating Stephanie. That is the focus. That is where it's concentrated on simply the search and locating her vehicle and her. Locating her vehicle so that they could find her. So there can't be a suspect when you don't even know what happened to her, unless there's things to indicate, right?
Steph Lechner asked a question.
You weren't on yet. Start over.
Okay. Sorry, well, I don't know what I'm doing.
You're good.
Steph Lechner asked, can they still do a tox screen on a body that worst case scenario has been submerged for that long? You know, that's why I'm kind of hoping maybe the head wasn't. I'm not a medical examiner. I do have a science degree, but I'm not a doctorate. I think it's going to depend. It can be skewed, though. I mean, they can even be skewed by the products of decomposition, as we learned in the Watts case. Some of the things that were found in Shanann's system were a direct result of decomposition. So, that created a big old upstir and uproar in the groups. But facts are, it just depends. I mean, there are so many factors that make each and every death unique. Even if two people shoot themselves in the head and they're both outdoors, well, if one's in Texas and one's in Wisconsin, we're going to get total different results. So it really just depends. I cannot intelligently say whether or not they will be able to for sure get a tox on her. But I do think that even if she didn't take enough pills to purposely kill herself, it does not mean that she was not mixing a daily medication in her alcohol.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, motherfucking Princess says, I think accident Stephanie was talking about treatment. This was her last hurrah before going into treatment. Driving back home, she went off road into water. Nah, man, I don't buy that. I mean, that's definitely a theory. It's definitely, it's possible, but I don't buy it, man. It doesn't make sense.
Let me ask you, what are the chances that if she drove off the road into the water, okay, what are the chances that SUV is then going to float in a body of water that did not look like it was connected to a large river? I could be wrong. I have not had time to study the geographic map. But what are the chances? Because there's a woman in another group that lives there by it, and she drove to the site and was live. It was kind of boring, but I was watching it. And where they were pulling the vehicle from was a wooded area, not right by the road. And people are asking about tire tracks. It's been 3 weeks, guys. We're not going to see tire tracks 3 weeks later.
As much as it rains in Florida.
No, it's not exactly. Yeah, grass grows fast. We both live there. We know how that goes.
Right.
So, that's kind of neither here nor there. But I find that kind of strange, because where they were pulling the vehicle from at that point was from the more wooded area, not by the road. So you're a man. Do cars float like that in a lake, dude?
No, I mean, I don't know. I walk, man. I don't know. But and I've never driven a vehicle into a lake, man. So I don't know.
I guess maybe if she was going super, super fast. So our question is there guardrails?
But look, I mean, no. In a pond, no. Not in my experience in Florida, no. So this whole thing, I mean, I'm looking at the map right here. I've got it pulled onto the screen. But there doesn't look like there is any body of water that's connected to that. And I mean, that is a single body of water.
That's what I saw too.
And
Wicked Witch is in the chat, Will.
Oh, hey, Wicked Witch. We sent you a bunch of love. We know that you had a loved one loss. So we sent you a bunch of love earlier.
So very sorry.
And this is that girl that's on here who knew that she was this insightful, but I am very, very grateful. Yeah, I mean, okay, so let me ask you that, girl. Where are you as far as theories go? Obviously, with the obvious aside, we don't really know anything, but what's your gut telling you? What do you think?
Man, I learned the hard way not to assume things.
Sure. Yeah, no assumptions. Just
if
off the top of your head, what do you think?
Off the top of my head, I do not think suicide. Right. Do I think she could have had a wicked accident? Meh. If she was mixing medication with alcohol, sure, maybe. But, as you said, an experienced drunk knows their way home. and I know that from my brother, who is a severe alcoholic. Like, he could drive with one eye shut. Not that that's anything to be proud of, but God rest his soul, he was good at it. Somebody made a point in chat, I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was, that a lot of abductions, if not most of them, take place in parking lots. Somebody could have jumped in the car with her. She was a beautiful older woman.
That's what I think. I mean, that's just with the little that we know, that's the best thing that makes sense to me.
I would speculate that, or, maybe a friendship of some type gone awry before I suspect suicide. It is possible she blacked out, but I don't know. I'm still so sad they found her vehicle like this. It's really devastating.
I mean, the thing is if it was somebody that she knows, chances are they're going to find something in her phone. Now, for all we know, they did find something in her phone.
Yes, and the police have been very tight-lipped.
And they're waiting for finding her. So I'm thinking that if it was somebody that she knows, law enforcement finds something on her phone.
I agree.
That's what I'm thinking. And
Unless they spoke through a messenger, but her husband posted
but
on her
even still,
page,
who doesn't
so
use
he
their
had
phone for
access to that.
Messenger? Yeah,
I've got my computer pulled up. Stephanie Farrell says, if you're alive when you go into the water on accident, wouldn't you try to get out? Well, Stephanie Farrell, you're assuming one could. You know what I'm saying? It's a 20-year-old vehicle. If everything got wet, who knows if she should get it. If she's not, we're saying if she's not with her faculties. So if she's not completely competent and were to say like black out and go off the road, no, she would not try to get out,
right, right.
So
I mean, yeah, if she passed out, what if the reason why she went off the road is because she passed out? You know,
Soli
it's
Nina, that's here. That's called driving by Braille. It's kind of hillbilly, but they're called city titties. You know those little bumps
city
between
titties. Yeah,
yeah.
Florida's full of those things.
You drive by Braille. If
Yeah,
you're hitting those bumps, you're still in your lane, right? So it's not a joke, but people do that. It is true.
yeah. Um, there's city titties. I haven't heard that word since I left Florida. It literally, yeah, it's literally a concrete thing, and people
Yeah.
like gardeners and landscapers. They put them all alongside their lawns to
Yeah.
separate that from the road. From
Yes,
the
and they've
road.
got reflectors. Yep.
Sometimes they've got reflectors. Sometimes they're just concrete slabs that are shaped like a perfect titty.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting. But I don't know. I mean, of course we're speculating a lot here.
Oh yes.
And again, you know how I feel about that. I like to do responsible speculation. So I'm not ready to start saying that I'm suspicious of anyone because we don't know enough to say that we're suspicious of anyone, and we don't even know whether or not a crime actually took place or not. I think it did, but I'm not even close to ready to say that I suspect someone that she knows, because I don't know these people. We know very little about them. And there has been a vigorous search that's taken place for the last 3 weeks. This entire community came together. This entire community came together just to find her. And that's what bugs me, is it took 3 weeks to find her with this entire community coming together. That makes me think that this truck was purposely disposed of
there. Yeah. I feel where you're coming from with that. I do. I really wish. I hate speculating, but we're just speaking generally, and we're also assuming that bottle of vodka ever got opened. You probably.
I'm not assuming that at all.
No, I'm talking about people in general.
Right,
if you're to say somebody was drunk, that's the assumption the bottle got opened. Right. Now I know people who that needed treatment, and the reason they knew they needed treatment is because once they got more sober, they would have seizures and things of that nature.
I've personally seen people
the DTs. Actually,
during that 10 days. There was a 10-day or a week period, 7 days actually. It was a week period when I came up with the Glare concept.
Yeah.
During that time, I was watching someone detox from heavy alcoholism, and this man was going through pain.
Oh, it's awful.
And I mean pain. That's how I knew that. I was like, okay, well, I drink, but and it's a problem, but it's not to that extent. This is a physical problem that this man.
Oh yeah.
He and I talked to this guy every day. I was always, I sat next to him to eat our 3 meals a day. And I would sit next to this guy, and he was significantly younger. He was a young kid. He was a really, really nice guy. And he was big. You know who he looked like? He looked like Edmund Kemper. This dude looked just like Edmund Kemper. I'm not even trying to lie. He was gigantic. And he was tough as nails, but he would verbalize and say that he felt like his skin was burning off of his body.
Yes, I've heard the same. I've seen grown men cry like it's no bullshit. Right. So, we're just assuming or people are assuming, because I'm most certainly not, neither are you, that she even got to drink. There's a number of things that can cause people to lose control of their cars and end up in a pond outside of an intruder or drugs and alcohol. There's just a lot of things that can happen. I I really don't like the idea that somebody got in the vehicle with her and harmed her. Um,
I
I
don't
would.
like it either. I mean,
It
but
just it
you know,
terrifies me. I
yeah.
just
I mean, yeah. I mean, uh, I I'm hoping. I mean, there's nothing to hope for. Honestly, if you think
yeah.
about it, there's just nothing to hope for.
Well, regardless,
What
somebody's
what
dead.
what? Right. What we could hope for is at least we know where she is now, and we've got that.
Yeah.
But if someone is responsible, if it turns out that foul play is involved, because I'm pretty sure that law enforcement is going to be able to put that together fairly quickly.
Hmm.
Um, if
We can
there
hope.
is
Yes.
foul play, and again, I want to also point this out too, that girl. I want to point this one thing out too. Remember that the police chief, when Larry put the mic in her face and the camera in her face, she did say that there were behind the scenes things going on with other agencies involved. Now,
Yeah.
again, to me, that is another indication that there's probably a criminal or criminal element involved in their investigation.
Well, with I know that
I'm not
until the
saying that makes it so. I'm
no,
just saying that
no,
it indicates to me that that's a
almost
possibility, a
always.
probability.
Okay, look, she was okay. So here's how it works in Texas, and I've looked at a lot of the laws in Florida, and they are very similar. If somebody of her age dies and they are not suffering an ailment such as cancer or something else that is terminal, it like okay, my brother shot himself. It was very obvious he shot himself. Somebody was sitting right next to him. They still investigated it as a crime until the medical examiner said yes, all the gunpowder lines up, all the witness, everything, blah blah
Right.
blah, it all lined up, and then they ruled it a suicide. But even though it was that obvious, they still investigate, and I do hope.
Well, I would
Uh,
hope so, because if somebody kills me and tries to make it look like a suicide, man, damn it, I want you to assume it's a murder before
Bingo!
you know
Yeah,
what I'm
find out
saying?
who killed me.
Yeah,
Yes,
dude.
yes, yes. Lori Beth said the DTs can also lead to death depending on how addicted one is. God rest his soul. That just happened to my friend Joe, August the
I'm sorry.
20th. He's 40 years old, tried to get sober. They studied his seizures at the hospital, sent him home. His wife found him dead in the middle of the night the next
Oh,
day.
Jesus,
So,
that's awful.
so that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't even have to be drunk to die from alcoholism, man. So,
Right, right.
I deal with death differently. You guys, thank you. I appreciate it. He was a great dude, but he's also no longer suffering.
I mean,
He had a, you
we
know,
don't have any idea what the extent of her alcoholism actually was. His all her
well,
husband said was that she's been
dude,
known to have problems drinking.
hey, let's be real, okay? They're church going people. Look how forward they are with their religion. They are not going to mention any kind of alcohol problem unless it's bad enough, it's going to come out anyways, baby. You got to,
Fair, fair enough. I
they're
mean,
not going to
yeah,
make her
yeah.
look bad like that unless they have to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see a Christian family coming out and being like, oh, and by the way, she's kind of a drunk sometimes, unless it was 100% necessary. I just,
I
I
don't
don't,
like I don't like doing it, but it's in the back of my mind. It's just in the back of my mind. I don't like doing it, but there are things that do trouble me. And another thing that we have to take notice of is Larry. Larry does basically speak for Scott. Um,
yes,
I mean, we've noticed this. We've seen this.
yes,
We heard we heard Scott say, "I don't do nothing without this guy." He
yeah,
said that
yeah.
when the last time I went live and we went over that.
Well, but look how the other husbands have been eaten up. Maybe he was like, look what's happening to these other people. Let me just go ahead and jump in front of this for you. And you got them all pumped on some scripture, and there they go. I think that homie's weird and he's really overzealous, especially for such a horrible situation.
That's the perfect word to describe him, is overzealous.
Yes, overzealous. Yes.
Absolutely.
Considering the circumstances,
right.
You're not hosting a game show, fool.
For real, dude.
Okay.
Like, chill out. That was my whole gripe with this guy. Like, chill
doesn't make
out.
him a murderer.
I would
maybe a little bit narcissistic, but not a murderer.
Fair enough, right? And I'm not going to sit here and pick apart everything involving this guy if he wasn't so fucking loud, you know, and he wasn't so fucking smiley all the time, man. It bugs me that he's so fucking smiley and loud, you know. Like, the man is in the airplane. The video I was watching of him searching in the airplane, it was you know, it was more like, man, I'm in an airplane and look at how
they're on a tour. Yeah,
look at how beautiful this land is.
Pardon my phone tapping on the window. That's just my phone there, my shaky arm. So yes, I watched it.
You saw that too. Okay.
Of course I did.
Am I crazy?
No, we might as well have been on a tour, man. No.
That's what I was saying. I was like, so when are you going to talk about how visible things are as far as the chances of seeing a vehicle? Now,
well, apparently this one was pretty visible if they could see it from a drone screen. That's why I'm hoping. That's why I'm hoping the cab was not fully submerged so they can get that precious evidence that has been rotting. That has been wasting for 3 weeks.
Now, a drone, you know, the thing is, a drone has the advantage of flying low. They probably, you know, an airplane, you can't go, you know, at fucking 300-400 miles per hour past the pond.
That's true. That's true. What did they say? They were 800 feet up in that video, weren't they, Will? About 800 feet?
Oh, dude, no, they had to be, something like that.
I thought he said 800. Rasaka asked you a question. That's not normal, one man speaking for another. I'd like to say in the church, it most certainly is, especially it most certainly is. I did check the roster, Will. You said one day that you weren't sure if Larry Miles was a pastor or an elder for the church. The list is very extensive. I did not see him on it.
Okay, so he's okay.
I did not see him. Maybe he's a leader of a Bible study of some kind, because there's home groups in really large cell churches. They do home groups, so he could be a home group pastor, but he's not listed in any formal fashion or role on the church website.
And I am not trashing people who are devout Christians or even even borderline fanatical Christians. I'm not even trashing that. But the fact is, when I was 14, I went through a phase, right? And I used to go to a Pentecostal church, a Pentecostal Baptist church. And it was fun, you know. But I was hardcore. I carried a Bible around with me everywhere. Every single thing that I faced, I looked it up, see if there was scripture for it. Everything. You know what I'm saying? So but the thing was there was the general pastor, right? There was the youth pastor.
Yes.
And then there was another pastor that I can't remember, but there was the pastor, and then the two other pastors sat.
You got associate pastors usually, or junior and senior. Yes, sir.
Right. So, you know, but the thing is nobody really stepped up in that church. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't happen, because I think it actually does, but at that church, nobody stepped up and was like, hey, you know, actually that's not true. In my youth group, there was, but they were youth leaders. They were considered youth leaders. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So for all we know, there was, you know, he's somebody who's very active in the church.
Yes.
And people come to him for spiritual guidance to some degree, but I'm not going to lie. It does bother me to a certain degree that he is that active and he does not have a title at the church.
Well, you know, the deacons or the ushers, I did not see a list of them. And it is possible. Sometimes the deacons or ushers are held in esteem. And I mean, they're trusted with the money. Come on now, what's more important? So it is possible he fulfills a position like that would not be listed on the website, and that he would not have attained any kind of theological degree in which to hold.
Yeah. I mean, but even still, like, it's just, I mean, it's, I don't think it's normal for this person to not have that title as a church leader, and yet,
But he's
and then,
advertising the hell out of it.
and advertising the hell out of it, and hearing,
Yes.
and hearing Scott say, I don't do nothing without this guy. You know, that sits uncomfortable with me, that he has that much, you know, that he's speaking that much for that. It tells me that he has a certain level of control over what Scott says and does.
Oh, of course. He completely controls the narrative. Have you ever heard of a trauma bond, Will?
I never heard of it, but I can already tell what it means, basically. Yeah.
So when you're going through alcoholism with somebody that's apt to just disappear to go drink at a parking lot, assuming what we were told was true, okay? You already got a certain amount of level of trauma. You're always waiting for that phone call, right? Like I know there's people in chat that know what that phone call waiting is like. So you already got a certain level of trauma, and then she just disappears. And you have this very, so just out there personality. I'm trying to be respectful, almost narcissistic in nature, that is so strong that bounces up in there. It's very likely that there's going to be an instant trauma bond there. And this, okay, so when people die and they come to see a funeral director, they're clueless. They're like little sheeple, and you have to help guide them through every single step. I even had to walk a widow to the bathroom before, when there's signs everywhere. Huge, immaculate, beautiful funeral home, well lit, good signage. It's even in Braille. She couldn't find the bathroom. So when grief hits and you've been waiting for this phone call and waiting for this phone call, or in this case, you don't get one, it is possible to go into a state of shock where you need somebody to lead you around by the nose. And when you got somebody as gung-ho as Larry, they're going to jump right into that position. Why he's so gung-ho, we can't be sure. But I could see where that could happen naturally even.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like, hey, like, tell everybody what happened today. Like, you know, tell everybody about how you ran into your buddy from the 4th grade. Tell them.
Well, I didn't feel like a lot of what he was pointing out were big signs from God. Did you, Will? Did you feel like any of them were big miracle coincidences? I'm not being ugly, but I did not.
Like the podium?
Like, yes. Like, why are you leading this poor man saying this shit when his wife is gone? You really think he gives a damn about a podium, Larry?
Yeah.
Take the podium and shove it, Lair.
That's
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be ugly, but that's.
I understand. I understand. I'm not. Yeah. I'm kind of with you there. I
agree with you.
I mean, the better part of me wants to believe that Larry's just naive and he's coming from a good place. You know, that's the better part of me that wants to believe that.
Well, he's definitely coming from the church. Hey, guys, let's do this in the name of God place. And it comes across bad because somebody is dead, man. It just, he needed to tone it down.
Somebody's missing and you don't even know what the hell happened to them.
But I think we all know, and I know you and I knew something.
I mean, now, yeah. But at the time, you know, nobody wants to think that. Everybody kind of knew it too, I think. You know, Scott even said that he knew it. He was like, there's something happened to her. She wouldn't just take off.
Well, we all felt that too. But a woman that looks like her and presents like her doesn't just mysteriously disappear with a $20 bill and a 20-year-old vehicle. It doesn't happen.
Yeah, people take women that look like her.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
That's what happens.
She was a hot mama.
Right. She was beautiful. Absolutely.
Yes, I agree. Gorgeous. And her smile was so radiant. She would attract people, especially lowly people.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, is there's a lot of people in her life. If she was part of this congregation and she was teaching yoga, you know, if she got a job teaching yoga, chances are that she probably took yoga and had a bunch of people that she took classes with a certain amount of times a week.
Yes.
You know, I mean, trust me, I mean, I work at a fitness club, man. There's fitness, there's group fitness classes of who knows how many group fitness classes she was involved in, but not just yoga, but body combat. There's body pump. There's Zumba. There's all kinds of things that she probably could have been involved in. There could have been a church thing, like a
women's group.
Like Missy Beavers. She taught a fitness thing at the church. So she could have probably been incorporating Christianity with fitness, and or vice versa.
Well, I was going to say,
And attending some sort of group in her church that did this fitness stuff.
yoga is spiritual, and you can connect in all different types of spirituality through yoga. And that's another thing that lends me against the suicide. People who do yoga tend to be very at they find their inner peace. I mean, the whole point is to completely clear all the static and all the nonsense and be one with you and your God or higher power,
Right.
or just the earth. And so if she's so in tune, she's going to start her own classes, and she's hanging from the ceiling by basically rubber bands. And now I'm to believe she suddenly snapped and killed herself?
No. Yeah, I'm just not buying it.
Me neither.
And motherfucking Sparkles here says,
I love that name.
Me too. Yeah, hey, you guys, man, I'm not even monetized, man. Y'all can say motherfucker in here all you want. It's all good. It's my favorite word. So where is her brother in all this? Well, her brother was very active in the search from what I saw.
Yes. I haven't seen him again.
He's the last person that I'm suspecting in any of this. So I don't even want to hear that. I mean, no disrespect to you. I appreciate your comment. I'm just saying, that's where I'm at right now. There's no way I'm even, he hasn't even crossed my mind, except for initially when you look at everybody for a second, but pretty much immediately. Every time the camera's pointed on this dude, he's in front of a map. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
He's the one, in my personal opinion, that is doing most of the coordinating when it comes to the search.
Well, have you seen him on TV again? Because that may be what motherfucking Sparkles is asking. Like, where is he now in all of this? Because I haven't seen him in another broadcast recently. Have you, Will?
No.
So they could have been asking like that. Her brother, let me tell you from personal experience, the loss of a sibling is a very unique, deep pain. You don't just function instantly. So he may take a minute longer to gather than the people being led by Larry, you guys.
I agree.
Yeah. You're making me want a cigarette. Well, quit.
Yeah, I'm going to quit soon, man. It's not going to fly once I end up dating somebody or something like that. That's just not going to fly.
Yeah, 2020 is a hard year to quit, though, brother.
You're telling me, man.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's what motherfucking Sparkles meant. She was wondering where the brother's at, because I also noticed, Sparkles, that he has been missing from the broadcasts.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm in a place right now where it's touching to see the community come together. And this is the thing. This is where I feel guilty pointing shit out about Larry, is because he seems to be extremely involved in the coordination of getting everyone together.
Oh yeah, for
you
sure.
know what I'm saying? So I don't want to trash this guy, you know, in that sense. I don't want to rob him of any of that, credit, because he
total go-getter.
And he was totally talking about how fucking great it was. You know,
he was
totally talking about how wonderful it was to see the community come together. And I completely agree with him.
People in chat are saying that somebody has confirmed that it was Stephanie. I just searched again. There is not a verifiable news source that I can find at this point in time that has confirmed that is Miss Hollingsworth. It is all speculation, you guys. There's some new people. You've got quite a few people listening, Will.
Yeah, I see that. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I am actually about to call it. I think we've covered as much as we possibly can as far as this goes right now, as far as what we know. But I will be on top of this. Confirmed from another creator, Nancy Eileen, but I want to hear it confirmed from a credible news source.
Yes, sir.
Before I use the word confirmed.
I need to hear it from the family or the police or, somebody that knows what they're saying.
Right. I appreciate it. And I'm glad you specified that it was from another creator. But I don't, until that girl here specifies that it is confirmed from a credible news source, or Or yeah, just a credible news source. If it's from law enforcement, they're going to go through a credible news source, not a YouTube
Yeah,
creator.
and I'll share it in the group, you guys. And I may be late, so if you guys find it first, please share and let us see.
Absolutely, absolutely. But man, that girl, your insight is fantastic, and I'm very, very grateful that you could join me on panel, and address the chat. And now I'm on to you. So
being there says WFTV is saying it is her.
WFTV is saying it's her. I don't know who WFTV is.
I don't either. We're going to have to look after we're done here. I really, I've had fun, Will. It was good to be able to help you, and I'm glad we can answer, some of the more science-based questions a little bit more logically great for people. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be calling on you on stuff like that. So I really appreciate you. And everybody, I really appreciate you joining chat. And any developments, I will go on again. I'm going to have a little bit of wine tonight, so I will not be going live tonight.
Don't you dare.
After this. So, but yeah, next couple days are off, and it's been a stressful week. And I plan on watching a movie and relaxing. And I will be any new developments on this, you will get them. But from me, you won't get them until at least tomorrow. But I love you guys very much. Thank you so much. And everybody who's donated to the PayPal to support the channel, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. And we will do this again very soon, my friends. Thank you.